I seem to have got myself involved in some sort of a cult. There were 4 of us in a largish hall again, strangely. There was a guru sort of type of Indian, that is a real Indian, not a Native American, of small sort of stature, 2 others and myself. In the hall there were a lot of people all round the perimeter of it, and we were the only ones sort of taking the floor, if you like, in the middle of it. The guru man started walking around the perimeter close to the onlookers, followed by the other 2. But for some reason I declined to follow them and stood to one side watching. Shortly after this I seemed to be with the 3 of them listening to the guru. He told us he was going to die in 3 years' time. Somehow I seem to know that this was correct. I appear to have had some foreknowledge of this somehow, and been shown he had indeed died 3 years later, though not how or why. That's the end of that one. It sort of brings to mind actually the fact that about 20 or 30 years ago I became acquainted with people who were involved in a cult. I didn't actually join it, I'm glad to say, but they were actually local to where I worked in Dunstable in Bedfordshire. And their big man, or you may have heard of him, he was originally called himself Bagwan, I think it was, and eventually it was Osho, and he had this big place in Oregon, America, and also they had these ashrams in India, and these people would go over there and do all sorts of funny things. I sort of watched that in a way from the side, and decided not to join it, but I made some good friends there. I'd kept friends for several years afterwards and learned different things from them, but I never actually joined up, I'm glad to say. But so it seems to me that maybe this was sort of underlining that in a way, saying it was right not to join these cults and things. Well, that's about it really. So I've got to sort of make of it. I didn't have a chance to discuss this one with Kevin, I'm afraid.
Okay, no, that's a fun one too. And Val and I, yes, we watched Bagwan, and his. There's actually a film, a documentary on that. I would suggest you watch it as a viewpoint. And yes, eventually he did go from India to Oregon. And I remember those days. Actually, I saw it on TV. Oh, probably, what was that? Probably in the 70s, maybe 80s, 70 to 80s. And he was the guy that had all these Mercedes cars, like 50 or 100 of them. And he had people donating, giving up everything. I mean, they created a huge establishment there. They were kind of oddballs at first in Oregon when they went there. But he had machine guns. He had people with machine guns and stuff like that walking beside him. But eventually things all turned. Of course, the government comes in and all kinds of funny things happen. But in other words, he's one of these Indian gurus that many people look to because many people still want to stay passive and they want a babysitter for themselves. And it's usually the God idea or this or that, etc., which is understandable. So it's a good viewpoint for you as a comparison. And also I see it as a warning. And that is that so many people have come and gone from this. And the reason being is that they get frustrated or discouraged or whatever, or their personal life is more important because they can't figure out the all is. That is huge to do that. And so as you're persistent, the boys will stay with you. But again, I also see it as a warning, Peter. So there's more to it, but you'll figure it out.
Right, thanks for that. Yeah, I consider it a warning really, but there's no danger in me joining any cults anyway. I think probably because of that, what you say is right. I remember all that, what you said about, I think actually it was Rolls Royces that he had rather than Mercedes. That's a silly detail really. But I remember it must have been in the 80s because that's when I knew these people. And he was already dead by then and they were bemoaning the fact that they reckoned he'd been murdered in an American prison or something. But it was all very weird, and it certainly put me off cults for life anyway. The whole thing really is just seeing how fanatical some of them were. Anyway, thanks very much.